Assalamualaikum, people listening and watching. You're tuning into the Let's Walk podcast. I am your host Ataur Rahman, and today's guest is Robert Thompson Eshun. He's joining me all the way from US, and he'll be sharing his journey through pharmacy school and what he's currently doing and how he manages time with gym and content creation and whatnot. So, Robert, thank you for being here.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
I want you to start off with the program at your uni and how it is structured so that people back in India can know about
Okay, so at my school we do a 6-year program. So straight from high school we do 6 years. The first 2 years you basically graduate, which is basically like a bachelor's degree almost. You finish all the core curriculums for the campus of St. John's, and then afterwards you finish after your third year. Well, during your third year, you actually start your pharmacy curriculum, and basically you go through that in 4 years. And in the last year, and in the last of the 4 years, you're just going on rotation. So you're basically learning all the pharmacy knowledge during the years 3 to 5, and then years 2 is the bachelor's, and then the last year just is an experience, is working, figure out where you want to apply yourself in pharmacy and where do you want to shift your career before you graduate.
it. So I want you to share like how do you manage studying, working out, making content for YouTube because it's a lot of things at the same time, right?
Yeah, so I actually am very interested in it because overall I was studying a lot, but I feel like the best way to manage it is figuring out what you want to focus on first. So the first thing I focused on was just having a good study routine. So I made sure that I could actually study correctly, and I made sure I have a lot of free time on my own. Once I had my own free time, then I was able to actually implement new things into it. So I actually added gym next. So I wanted to focus on my overall health because like health is one thing I'm studying is healthcare. So I wanted to focus on my health. So once I was able to focus on a good workout routine and made myself used to it, then I could focus on content creation, which is I'm doing now. And I'm really trying to focus on that and being consistent with that. And I think each one is important just to focus on one thing at a time instead of doing everything at once, because it's super hard to do everything at once if you just start off like that. So I'm gonna be like, that's the way I think about it. Like figure out how you want to start and focus on that. And then once you get a good routine down and you're able to think, okay, I can add more to this. So and then after that, you get to used to it, and now it's like it's normal now for me to do 2 workouts a day, study a couple hours, and then also work on YouTube videos or content creation.
So how, like this is a long course, right? 6 years, and now you're about to graduate, right? So how has pharmacy school changed as a
So I'm actually about to graduate next year, but yeah. So pharmacy as a whole has definitely changed a lot in terms of the traditional path. So nowadays, like before when I first graduated, I thought I was gonna be like a pharmacist that works at like a retail or community setting, like a regular store, or a person that works in a hospital. But now that I'm actually in my later years of pharmacy school and I'm having more exposure to what pharmacists do outside, and I connect with a lot of pharmacists, there's other paths that are like very, very good as well. There's a lot of paths where you can work in a pharmaceutical company, or you can actually work in like a nuclear pharmacy or compounding pharmacy. So there's a lot of different ways you can get it. You can do medical writing now. So there's a lot more paths than I thought it would be. And I think that's why the career is still a good major as a whole right now. And I think the main thing to focus on is like figuring out what you like the most out of it. Instead of figuring out what pharmacy can do for you, figure out what you want to do in pharmacy. If that makes sense.
that's a nice way you put it, so that we can like really pinpoint what we can do and figure out what we want.
Yeah.
That's nice. That the question was actually, how has pharmacy changed you as a person?
Oh, definitely. I think
So
pharmacy changed me the most because I feel like I got like the passion. Like a lot of majors that you do like business or something like that. They teach you more about like just regular skills about like learning analytical skills. But like being in a healthcare, it changed me a lot because now I feel a compassion to my patients, the patients that helped out. I'm able to actually like be empathetic with them and actually work on them on a level that they can understand, and hopefully use my knowledge to help them. Especially being African American, my main goal was to help out people that maybe don't understand how to take care of themselves correctly or how to like get through disease states. And I think that's probably the most impactful thing for me is like learning how to interact with people and communicate in a way that helps others.
wow. So that's a really nice thing, you know.
Mhm.
Like how where do you see yourself like after graduating from pharmacy school? Do you think like you'll pursue more higher education or like you join the workforce?
So I've been like thinking about that right now actually because I have a lot of mentors. So there's two places I'm thinking about because I always want to get more education, of course, but you can also work and get education. So like what my main goal maybe right now, well, which I can change like next year maybe, but like I want to focus on just like getting project management skills so I can work in a health system and maybe like a big health system so that I can like figure out how to make an impact. And hopefully that would allow me to help people when I go back home to Ghana. I can like use my skills to like help people and make like a whole huge health system or a hospital there. That's my main goal. Um, if not, then I definitely could be okay with working in a pharmaceutical company and figure out, like I said before, my content creation skills are pretty good, so I can use my marketing and content creation to help out with that, and then I can also leverage that in other places.
Uh, so is there a way that you could have your internships or your working practice back in Ghana?
Say it again, sorry.
Is there a way that you can have your internships or your practice back in Ghana?
So I wasn't really planning on being like a pharmacist in Ghana. I wanted to maybe make like my own like company or make my own like business around it, maybe a nonprofit organization, so that I can make a infrastructure that can help people. Like I never actually went to like practice in Ghana. I mainly just wanted to use my knowledge and use my maybe once I hopefully get a good salary, I can actually like invest money into having an organization or a foundation that can use different practices like nursing, doctors, and pharmacists together that would actually help people. And then I don't have to actually manage. I can just like go there once in a while, and then that way it can help people, and that'll be my main goal.
Like talking about mentors, you mentioned mentors, right? How do you get mentors? How do you tell us the whole process of the,
Yeah. So it's kind of like what you did to me. Like you just email them. Like you just figure out like you have like your own. So you have LinkedIn here or Facebook or Instagram like, and YouTube. So me doing this kind of stuff now, where I do like YouTube and Instagram and LinkedIn and stuff like that, I'm building my own resume. And then when I ask people for things, like when I ask a mentor a question, you ask with like interest. You say like, okay, through email, through social media, you just ask them, hey, I have this going on right now, would you be interested in helping me out? And I think the most important thing is like when you're trying to look for a mentor, you actually ask either very, very good questions or show very a lot of interest, or you also show how you're working on something. Like you're actually like you're like you working on your podcast. I saw that and I was very interested in that. So for me, it was like I have a lot of things going on besides school, and people can see that, and I'm interested in more things outside of just pharmacy alone, which allows people to see that, and they're like, okay, this guy's kind of interesting. Let me talk to him at least. And then once you do that, mentorship is pretty easy. Once you get through the process of asking people.
I think after listening to this, like people are more able to, like there's a lot of hesitation, when it comes to asking to people. And this is what I feel like as students, and I think like you mentioned, this will reduce the barrier or remove the barrier uh, while asking questions and whatnot.
Mhm.
And you mentioned in one of your videos that marks are something in between studying good and having good relationships with persons, right?
Mhm.
I want you to explain a little bit about that.
Having marks and good relationships.
Having marks is having marks is not only dependent on studying, but it also depends
Oh
on
yeah.
having good relationships.
So I'm gonna tell you actually a funny story about this one. So um, during my main clinical or therapeutic classes, which is like the hardest year of basically pharmacy school, where you just like have like a test, like a major test that's like half your grade is every single week. So like literally you're studying like for 2 hours a day minimum in class, and you have to study afterwards, and you're tested the next week, and you do that every single week for a year. And like my main thing was that after the test, you would go to these things where like they all the teachers are there, right? All the teachers are there after your test, after you finish the test already. And then you go to them and you ask them questions like, why did I get this wrong? And what happened with this question, or can you explain to me again because you show interest. And I used to go to them. So like a lot of times I would go to them after my test was already graded, and I always get points back because like I always like figure out a way to like talk to them and ask them questions. Like I would use their material, and I was like, okay, in class you said this, so based on the knowledge you gave me, I put this answer down, and based on the clinical knowledge that I've studied with, they said this. So like I would every single time my marks would change just because of me. I would go back and just like ask them like what's going on with this question or what's wrong with this question. And I think that's so important. Like when I realized that, I was like, okay, so like having good marks is okay, but like having communication with people and actually talking to them, and like you can actually get like a lot more out of it than you can from just studying alone, which is like it was crazy to me when it actually happened to me.
Oh, like sometimes I feel guilty when I don't tell these kind of things to my friends.
Yeah,
Like
it's crazy,
yeah,
man. I saw that. It was crazy.
they feel that's some sort of manipulation going on over there.
Yeah, like it's every single week too. I was like, because they have a meeting every single week, so like the test is like rigorous. So I was like, I was studying, but I was like, okay, like if I get something wrong, I'm not gonna just like pout about it and get mad about it. I'm gonna actually go and figure out what's going on. And also that shows them they're like, okay, this guy's actually interested in material. So like, even if like sometimes they were just like, okay, I understand where you're saying coming from, so I'll just give you an extra point here or there. And I'm like, all right, cool, I'll take it, you know.
So, can you talk about the specific strategies that you use for studying?
So yeah, the specific strategies I started using recently was like active recall, like I said before. So making your questions. I actually have a video straight about that, where like basically the most important thing I realized from school was that like they give you like these 200 PowerPoint slides, and only like 30 slides are actually important. So for me, it was like the first. What I always do now is I look at the objectives of the class. I look at the syllabus. I read that more than I read the actual PowerPoints, and I just figure out what they want me to learn. And then from there, I just make questions on the things that apply to those questions, and all my things are flashcards now. So I just ask myself multiple questions. I have my phone, my iPad, my laptop, everything. I just keep on doing the questions over and over again until I can actually understand it. And that's pretty much it. Anything I don't understand, that's when I actually write it out into like a different notebook or notepad, and I actually read about it and try to figure out why I got that. I don't understand it, and I go to textbook if I need to. And then I just keep recycling that same process over and over again. So that's helped me the most.
Uh, we back here in India, we have a similar program, a 6-year program with
Mm-hmm.
2 years of studying, like the basic lecture and whatnot, and after that we have like the going to rounds and learning in the hospital. So, uh, like you mentioned, a lot of my friends and like me, I also like suffer with this. Like we struggle with a lot of chemistry. So what, like, do you struggle with the same thing, or did you used to struggle?
So yeah, we do the same thing. I think it's yeah, my second year I did general chemistry, then we do organic chemistry, biochemistry, and then medicinal chemistry. So yeah, you can't get away from chemistry, man. I was trying to run away from it, but you got to get through it, man. That's definitely part of the curriculum, and it's year by year, so you got to constantly just yeah, you can't run from it. And even after that, you do when you do your actual drugs, then you have to also do medicinal chemistry for each drug in your clinical in your fourth year, and that's the worst, man. That's the worst. But yeah, I got through it, so we're good.
Like, do you think there's a way around it, like some
No.
specific strategies or something? Like,
So for chemistry, um, that's hard because it changes though. So like I think chemistry is kind of similar to the same active recall process, but I think once you get into organic chemistry and like medicinal chemistry, it's more important to just like to draw. I like drawing it a lot better than I like to like actually look at it. And I think me drawing it allows me to see a lot better. Um, I'm actually gonna work on a video for that too because that's one of the main problems I had. So I gotta focus on that one. But yeah, I think drawing it, like drawing out the structure yourself, and just doing the flashcards is probably the best method I can think of for me. There's no way around it
no,
though.
you should definitely make a video about this, because a lot of pharmacy students are struggling.
It was yeah. I mean, at first I would have like I think I had like a D in the class, and then I actually like okay, Bob, we gotta get serious now. So then I ended up like getting like a B plus. after I took it seriously. And I think the main thing I did was just like keep on drawing it and keep on making like flashcards. Like it was tough though. It was tough. Yeah, we got through it.
So, do you ever deal with burnout in pharmacy school?
Yeah, definitely, 100%. That year I told you about before with the test every week, it was terrible. Like you literally just go to a class, 2 hour class, you study 4 hours every day, a minimum 4 hours, and then the next day, next thing again, 2 hours, and then they test is late next week, so like you can't even like how you can't not study. You can maybe take maybe 1 day break, but you gotta consistently have a routine. So I definitely experienced burnout, but the thing is that the best way to think about it is just make it into like small tasks that are not like too big. Like don't try to study everything at once. Just make it as small as possible. Try to do maybe 1 or 2 hours. That's still better than nothing. Like 1 or 2 hours is way better than doing nothing at all. So even if I have bad days, I'm like, okay, let me just look at it for an hour. I'll just like or just watch the lecture slides. I'm not even gonna like look at it or try to do flashcards. I'll just read lecture slides. Figure out what the smallest thing you can do, and then do that way. Because yeah, you're definitely gonna have burnout.
So, what is your message for the pharmacy students in first year or who are planning to come into pharmacy?
So for first years for pharmacy, I would definitely tell people that emailed me. I told them the first thing you should do is work. Like I think the first thing you have to do is figure out um, what it's like to actually work as a pharmacist. Because I think that also helps you with studying as well. Because when you actually work, you can see how the drugs work and stuff like that. That's the best thing I can tell you to do is just work first and then study and try to find a balance between the two. And that way, it will allow you to have more opportunities in the future.
That's nice. Like you mentioned, the working, it helps in understanding like how the process is and whatnot, and then
Mhm.
that translate into studying.
Yeah,
That'll be like a solid thing.
yeah, 100%.
So, moving on to market saturation and like basically, there's a lot of questions that is going into pharmacy a correct choice or uh, the right financial decision to make. Since
Hmm.
like the pharmacy crisis and the job shortage and
Yeah.
the job saturation is also high. So, like, do you still recommend people, if somebody's interested in pharmacy, that's good and welcome.
Yeah. So pharmacy. So the reason why it's pharmacy saturation or market saturation is because pharmacy has a low barrier entry versus other health professions, like a doctor, obviously. And the main thing about pharmacy is that you can have like one person working for a long amount of years without feeling a lot of burnout versus other professions where you're like working more directly with patients. So I think pharmacy role as a whole is changing because now it's more about different ways in which you can interact with people. So like nowadays, before it was the traditional path was just only working in stores or working in the hospital, but now there's other opportunities in working like medical writing. There's other opportunities in working in the pharmaceutical industry, compounding pharmacy. Those are different ways you can work, but those are not really accounted for when you look at the market because most people don't talk about that kind of stuff. So like that's what I'm saying. Like before, you got to work and also learn about different ways you can apply your medical knowledge into the world for everyone patient care.
Okay. So I'm just curious, so how did you like actually decide that, I want to go into pharmacy? Was it like a childhood thing that, yes, I'm going to be a pharmacist or that sort of
Yeah, so the main thing for me was that I actually want to learn the medical process more than I actually want to do pharmacy. So I didn't really want to do like direct patient care every single time because my mom is actually a nurse. So I knew like how hard and struggling it is to work with people constantly, and I still love the fact that I work with patients and everything like that. But I want to learn the pharmaceutical. I want to learn medical knowledge and how each profession works together to build relationships. I think pharmacy is probably the best one. Plus, you also get the background and knowing how the drugs work. So a lot of other professions don't really understand how like the pharmacology and stuff like that, and that's one of the main barriers to entry for a lot of people. So my main goal out now is just like that's the reason why I got into pharmacy, and also my parents, both my parents, my dad has type 2 diabetes, and my mom is also on multiple medication. So I want to understand that because most doctors only focus on what happens after you get sick, but I feel like pharmacists are actually focused on prevention and actually helping you use your medication long term after you get out of the hospital or after you get an emergency room. So that's one of the main reasons I got into pharmacy. And I feel like pharmacy allows you to like work with patients. Um, like when you go to like most environments where patients are like low income or low socioeconomic class, those are where pharmacists are needed the most because they're most accessible healthcare providers. So yeah, that was a long-winded answer, but yeah.
So, like I saw you got the vaccine, right?
Yeah.
So how has it been? Like, how are you feeling?
So yeah, I've been good. I've been yeah. I actually was like I was working with the COVID clinics first, so I asked to actually vaccinate people first, and I saw how they were doing, and I think when I saw that first, then I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the vaccine too. The first day, it was nothing, not really a big deal. The second day, I actually had I was super drowsy and tired, so I just like fell asleep for like 12 hours straight. But after that, no fever, nothing like that, so it was good.
Like, how did you make the decision? Like, what was the thought process?
So for me, okay, I was already working in like hospitals, so like I had like COVID patients. So I was like, all right, I'm going to this hospital that has COVID patients all the time. Plus, I'm vaccinating all these people, and I feel like if I'm the person vaccinating somebody, and then like what they ask me one day, like, is the vaccine safe? I'm like, yeah, it's safe, but I didn't get one. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna get one. And then plus, like, I read the studies myself, and I saw other patients for a long period of time, so I felt safe the fact that like I got to see it and I got to also read the studies, so it wasn't really like a hard decision for me after that.
Do you still have shoulder pain?
No, I've had shoulder pain. I worked out. I think the second vaccine hurt me the most, where I couldn't work out my shoulders, but I still did everything else. I couldn't work out shoulder for I think like 5 days, but after that I was fine.
So, have you been still working during the pandemic?
Working, you're working like at the hospital.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been yeah. So like, what's one of the best things about like being in a medical profession? Because like a lot of people got like laid off for their jobs and stuff like that. But when you're a person that's like essential, I was able to work in a community setting where like I work at a store, and also I have rotation still at the hospital, so I do both.
Wow. So, like, how is the situation been in the US? Like, are the cases increasing or what?
So I'm actually in New York right now, and recently they've been like having a lot of very good positive impact. So recently they have the CDC guideline now where if you get all your friends get vaccinated or all your family get vaccinated, you guys can like be in the same area or same indoor facilities without a mask. So that's very very good. And I think now they're also like allowing more people to like travel a lot more now, especially. So we're doing really good now. I think we're actually like going on up, and a lot of people are getting vaccinated now. I think we passed over 1 million shots recently. So yeah, we're doing really good.
Oh, that's nice to hear. Like people who are vaccinated, they can come together, maybe play table tennis or whatnot.
Yeah,
Uh, are the gyms open over there?
yeah, the gyms are open. Yeah.
So no, so you might be going to the gyms, or how are you doing home workouts?
So I do home workouts, and my friend actually has some gym equipment, so I've been just doing those too. Um, I think once I finish pharmacy school, I'll probably go back to the gym. But yeah, right now I'm good because I can just I'm very creative. Plus I'm a personal trainer, so I can make my own workouts. So I just do that.
That's nice. You do like all the stuff. Like what's the secret? Like doing the
The secret is just having interest, like I just think that I'm a very like interesting person. Like I read a lot of books now too, and I like a lot of books, and I just like am interested in a lot of finances, pharmacy, working out, healthcare, how to be healthy, everything. Like I think the main thing is focus on what are you interested in, and then like figure out like people that you can emulate or resources that you can use to gain that knowledge and then implement it. After you get the knowledge, implement it as much as possible. I'm still working on my YouTube channel, obviously. I'm still doing everything like whenever I get bored, I just do something that I'm interested in, and then hopefully it helps long term.
so you said you mentioned that you read a lot of books, right? So what is that one book which you don't want to
Uh,
finish?
the one book I would recommend. Wait, what did you say? Sorry.
The one book that you never want it to finish. That means that you never want the book to end.
Oh, well, like I don't read like storybooks though. I read like self development books. So, uh, I mean, I don't think I have. I don't think I have a book right now that maybe want to end.
Okay, we'll rephrase the question. It's like, what is the one book that you will recommend to your younger self?
My younger self. Oh, let's see. Let's see. Let's see. If I could recommend one book to myself, one book, one book. So I recommend probably. Yeah, I recommend. Yeah, it's called the Subtle Art of Not Giving an F, like by Mark Manson. I think that's probably the most important book, especially like as a person that's younger and needs to growing up. Like you need to understand that like no one cares what you do. Like, you got to figure out how to live your life, and you just got to understand that everyone has their own problems, and that's how you got to navigate through life. Like you have problems, everyone has problems. Don't get mad about things, and just focus on yourself and figuring out ways in which you can help others. And then also the fact that no one cares, so no one's gonna judge you for what you do. Just do what you can, be your best person of yourself, and that will help you in the long term.
Uh, I will have to add that to my reading list now.
I can add you some more books later on.
Sure,
Also,
sure. Um, so like, where do you see yourself 5, 10 years down the line?
ooh, 5, 10 years. 5, 10 years down the lane, I will be. All right. So first thing I want to focus on is my social media presence. I want to be having bigger social media presence and providing a positive message to people as much as possible. I want to keep doing some kind of social media, whether it's YouTube, TikTok, whatever it is, in the future. And then I want to find a way where I can use my medical knowledge to help others. I don't know where that's going to be because I can see myself transitioning a lot in pharmacy, which is actually a good thing because I can figure out where I fit the most and where I can have the most message. 10 years, yeah, I think the same thing. Just keep on doing the same thing I'm doing now. Hopefully, I can help people, and hopefully, I can use the knowledge and my interests and my things I like to do and show that off to other people so they can improve themselves.
So like, what aspect of pharmacy do you like enjoy or like to practice as clinical pharmacy, community pharmacy? How do you
Mm,
decide between?
the part of pharmacy I like the most right now, I would probably have to say. I mean, the reason why I went into community is because I've worked in community for the last 4 years, and I think what I've noticed for myself is that since I have so many interests, I have to constantly be doing new things. So, right now, I think I want to work in like a health system. I think because I want to learn how to manage a hospital or manage some kind of pharmacy. Like I want to manage like the top level stuff, like even past like the actual pharmacy, like manage the corporation and stuff like that because I think I want to learn more things besides just like pharmacy. I've been in pharmacy now for the last like 5 years now. So um, yeah, I think the main thing for me is just like figuring out ways in which I can learn new things every day and not be doing the same role constantly. So it's kind of hard to like give you an exact answer for that question, unfortunately.
No worries. So like, how do you make the decision? Because see, you see, in life, it's like if you choose one thing, there's an opportunity cost, right? You're
Hmm.
not doing the other thing. So like, how do you
Yeah,
figure that?
like I said before, just interest, man. Just like you don't really have to focus on like I think if you know Gary Vee, do you know Gary Vee at all? Yeah, so Gary Vee, I love Gary Vee, man. So I love him the most. He's like, yo, like don't focus on like making the right decision, just focus on making a decision. Like it doesn't really matter about opportunity costs. Like focus on what at the moment you like the most, and don't be afraid of like your choice. A lot of people in pharmacy they say like, oh, it's so saturated and stuff like that. But like you use the knowledge that you have now to focus on what you like, and then figure out where you want to go from there and then next thing, if you want to change it later on, you can. You have a long life. As long as you stay healthy, you're gonna be fine. Just don't worry too much about everything else. Just focus on what you're interested in, and then be like head first into that, 100% into that.
Uh, that's a nice thing you said. Because sometimes we can always focus on what we are missing out than actually
Yeah,
what we are planning to do or will gain.
what's in front of you? Yeah, you miss out on all the good things in front of you right now.
Yeah. So I want to know like what's the mindset that you carried out throughout these years, in pharmacy school that you are like hustling and staying focused. Like what's the mindset that you carry?
Yeah. Recently, in pharmacy school, when I first started studying, like I said before, I was only focused on studying. But then I realized like I'm on like this small little box, like you're only in the pharmacy world, and I was like, that's very boring to me. So I was like, how can I expand on that? How can I learn to like learn new skills? And I was like, you just try. You just try different things and see what happens. So for me, it was just like, um, I think yeah, like you just try different things and see what happens. Honestly, you don't really have to like focus on like pharmacy. I think pharmacy. The thing about pharmacy is that you don't have to only do pharmacy. You know, a lot of people nowadays, I think, are understanding that you can do social media, you can do um, leadership skills, you can do stuff like that. And I think that's also very, very critical in terms of growing as a person.
That's a new insight right there. I have this question right out of my mind. It's like, do people think that, like doing social media or doing YouTube, like in the pharmacy profession, is it unprofessional or like is it looked down upon or something like that?
Um, uh, Actually, no, no, it's not because I think the main thing is that no one does it. So that's where it kind of gets weird because every other profession you look at, doctors, nurses, all of them have social media presences and like they're known for that. You know, like Dr. Oz in our place, Dr. Mike. There's also a lot of YouTubers that are also really onto social media. So I think a lot of people don't really say anything because they're like kind of like too into pharmacy or they're like, how do I put this? They don't know, you know, like if they can actually be consistent with this. So they're like, I don't want to do that, and they don't really look down upon it. They're just like, I'm not really interested in that. But I think that's the most important part because you got to show the people what pharmacy is like. Like you got to show them like how to study. You got to show them, you know, what we go through as a profession because that allows people to actually like value pharmacists more. So like, unless people can see it, like look at social media nowadays. All the celebrities are highly valued because they show what they're doing. You know, they show different work they're doing. So I think the profession as a whole actually needs people to be more interested in social media and having things like that.
Uh, like after listening, like I thought of, having a vlog kind of thing going on in the first year of pharmacy.
Hmm.
But then I realized that, I'll have to like study and then edit and then upload. So
Yeah.
instead of that, I like what I'm trying to do is now is like figure out to make it like a first year documentary, then have six parts, like a
I
six
like that. I
series
like the
kind.
idea. I like that.
So instead of, like trying to edit and upload every single week or something, I have all the clips, I can then compress
Yeah.
it and then narrate over it.
Yeah.
That would be that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
it's yeah, like whatever you can do. Don't like focus on like trying to do too much. Just whatever you can do, just do it and then put it online, you know? Like you can control what you're putting out. So I like the idea. Let me know when you do that so I can actually watch it.
Yeah, yeah, sure, for sure. So this is now bringing us to the last part of the podcast. This is where uh, I question about life to bring life in perspective. So, what is that one thing that the pandemic has taught you?
Mhm. I definitely would say patience. I think a lot of people nowadays, like especially with how fast our world's going, social media, our phones, technology, like we're going so fast. I think the pandemic has really allowed us to be able to like slow down and be like humble and watch what we're doing and be grateful for what we have now. Especially like even in pharmacy career as well. Like a lot of people are so like trying to get there so fast, trying to get to the some destination so quickly. But then that's the coronavirus, stop. We got to actually value what we're doing now, and hopefully everyone stays blessed, and hopefully everyone stays, healthy, so that way we can actually value what we have now, and from there we can actually look in the future forward.
True. Like patience is such a quality that sometimes we can get so focused on why this is not happening. I wanted to
Yeah.
go over here, and now this pandemic has come, and it really like blinds us from not seeing what is in front of us. We are with our families and our loved ones. We are happy, and fortunately, we all are alive. And somewhere out there, people might be away from their families, and
Hmm.
most of them actually, like they might have got the virus and whatnot. Really, like that thing is something to be inculcated in us. And that brings me to the second question, which is, if you would meet three people, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
You said three people.
Three people, dead or alive, who would they be and why?
Mm, I would do Martin Luther King, just because of the fact that like he was like a revolutionary and like the type that he knew that like what he was doing was gonna eventually lead to this. Um, and like he still pursued it even though everyone thought he was like weird or like dumb or stupid and like stuff like that. He was a minister and he was also a graduate at the age of like super young. So I would like definitely do MLK. Barack Obama, which is our which our president, our old president. I love his tenacity. I'm actually gonna read his book in the next year, I think. Once I finish my book list now. My last one, I think I'll do Mother Teresa. I think I'll do that one. Yeah, I just want to talk to her because I would think that being able to like go through the process of giving yourself to a church and like that kind of devotion and like commitment and getting nothing in return is insane to me. So I just would love to talk to her and just like see what she has to say about that. Honestly, super off wall, right?
Like you mentioned, Barack Obama and Mother Teresa, and
Yeah,
Martin Luther King and Mother Teresa. They're sort of like the same revolutionary kind of people. The revolutionary category kind of people. But um,
yeah.
the one is sort of more devoted to the church. That's the other thing. Just curious. What led you to accept my request for a podcast? It was a pretty cold email, right?
Yeah, I told you, like I said before, mentors, man. Like, I've been like recently, I've been like looking for mentors recently a lot. So I've been like doing the same thing you're doing, emailing people, stuff like that. And I actually like the drive. I love people that are more ambitious. And then I also obviously I saw like your old podcast, so I like looked up myself. What are you doing? If you're actually serious about it, I saw you had a couple episodes, so I was like, all right, I'm not gonna be the first person doing this. If I was the first person, I would just like, nah, I'm not doing this. But you have something going on here, so it's good that you're doing that, and I want to also encourage it because I'm doing it myself. I want to help every single person that wants to do social media, do it. So I want to encourage that the most. That's why I accepted it.
Wow, thank you, man. That's so nice of you. So people listening and watch. Oh, wait a second, wait a second. Where's the best place people can actually find you?
Oh, definitely. Best place to reach me probably is YouTube now, at Robert Thompson Eshun. If not, you can also do my Instagram. I'm gonna start posting on there once our rotations start. That's gonna be in May. Only posting my everyday life on my Instagram on Robert.Thompson Eshun. So yeah, or LinkedIn as well, Robert Thompson Eshun. You can add me as well. I'm cool with that.
Okay. So people listening and watching, this brings us to the end of the episode. I hope you guys learned something because I did, and you guys know what to do. Stay blessed, keep taking action, and we'll see you in the next one.
Peace out.